And I remember in the car and driving up, and he's, you know how to curtsy, right? And I just thought it was a joke.
When two women occupy adjacent spaces in the public imagination, every move one makes gets read as commentary on the other.
But it was something that I think all three of us at the time felt that we really could make a far bigger impact together.
I never thought my life would be that awesome.
I find it much harder to talk about their mental health.
There's a fruit basket in my trailer!
Lots of people who are suffering with, addiction or poor mental health.
Because she said that my UN stuff inspired her.
And when those two women represent fundamentally different models of power, visibility, and control, the collision isn't personal. It's structural. Meghan Markle and Princess Catherine don't need to hate each other for their strategies to be incompatible. They just need to want different things. And they do. Catherine's role within the monarchy is clear. She exists to reinforce continuity, to embody stability, to show up, say little, and let the institution speak through her. She doesn't give interviews. She doesn't control her own narrative. She doesn't need to. Her power comes from patience, from proximity to the throne, and from the assumption that silence equals dignity. She plays the long game because the institution rewards endurance, not innovation.
It was like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like...
Meghan's strategy is the opposite. She left the institution. She walked away from the constraints, the protocol, the silence. And in doing so, she had to build a different kind of power. One rooted in visibility, in storytelling, in controlling the narrative before someone else does. She can't rely on the crown to validate her. She has to validate herself. And that requires constant presence, constant output, constant engagement with a media cycle that rewards novelty and punishes disappearance. So when people talk about Meghan trying to outshine Catherine, they're often talking about timing, about announcements that land during key royal events, about projects that launch when Catherine is in the headlines, about a pattern that looks, to some, like strategy. And maybe it is. But strategy isn't the same as malice. It's just recognizing that attention is finite, and if you don't claim it, someone else will. Let's look at the pattern.
She has now got the whole of America, and the worst of the world, frankly, looking upon the palace, the monarchy, as a bunch of racists.
In September 2022, Catherine appeared in her first solo cover shoot for British Vogue. It was significant, a rare personal project, carefully timed. The same week, Meghan gave an interview to Variety. Different audiences, yes, but overlapping media cycles. One story competing with the other for bandwidth. In March 2023, Catherine appeared at the Commonwealth Day service, a major institutional moment. The same day, reports surfaced that Meghan had signed with a major Hollywood talent agency. Coincidence? Possibly. But the timing ensured that any coverage of Catherine's appearance had to contend with Meghan's news. In June 2023, Catherine attended Trooping the Color, a cornerstone royal event. Days later, Meghan and Harry announced new projects through their production company. Again, overlapping news cycles.
Did you think she was well received in the beginning?
Yes, far better than I expected. But, my grandmother has been amazing throughout. My father, my brother, Kate, and all the rest of the family, they were really welcoming.
Your relationship with your father?
Again, one narrative bleeding into the other. You can argue these are coincidences. That the royal calendar is packed. That Meghan's team is simply doing their job, which is to keep her visible. That there are only so many weeks in a year and eventually things will overlap. All of that is true. But patterns are patterns. And when the same dynamic repeats, it stops feeling random. The question is whether this is deliberate. Whether Meghan's team monitors Catherine's schedule and chooses to release news strategically. Or whether this is just what happens when two high-profile women operate in the same media ecosystem and one of them needs attention to survive while the other receives it automatically.
By the way, you be careful what you say now, because these guys, they're filming.
I know!
Here's what we know. Meghan's brand depends on visibility. She doesn't have institutional power. She doesn't have a throne waiting for her. She has a Netflix deal, a podcast that ended, a lifestyle brand that hasn't launched, and a public image that requires constant maintenance. If she goes quiet, she becomes irrelevant. If Catherine goes quiet, she's still the future queen. That asymmetry shapes everything. Catherine doesn't need to compete. She doesn't need to announce projects or give interviews or remind people she exists. The institution does that for her. She shows up at events the palace schedules. She wears what her stylists choose. She says what her communications team approves. And that restraint is her power. Because in the monarchy, silence signals control. Speaking too much signals desperation. Meghan can't afford that silence. She left the system that would have protected her through proximity. And in doing so, she became responsible for her own relevance. That's not a moral failing. It's a practical reality. And if that means launching a project when Catherine is in the news, it's not necessarily sabotage. It's survival.
Competitive. I don't know where this is coming
They
from.
reckon if you guys played table tennis, it would go on for hours and hours, and it'd be like double or quits. Is it like that?
Actually, I don't think we've actually managed to finish a game of tennis.
No.
The two of us.
Is there a reason?
really?
For that?
Yeah, the rackets are all broken.
Is that McEnroe style
It
endings?
becomes
or-
a mental challenge
Really?
between the two of us.
Yeah, it's who can out mental each
Really?
other. Oh yeah.
But here's the uncomfortable truth most commentary avoids. Outshining only works if both parties are playing the same game. And they're not. Catherine isn't trying to outshine Meghan. She's not thinking about Meghan at all. She's thinking about the institution. About her role within it. About the fact that in 20 or 30 years, she'll be queen consort, and none of these tabloid skirmishes will matter. Meghan, on the other hand, is playing a different game entirely. She's building a brand. A media presence. A narrative of resilience and reinvention. And in that game, Catherine is useful. Not as a rival, but as a contrast. As the symbol of everything Meghan rejected. Every time Meghan does something that can be framed as competing with Catherine, it reinforces Meghan's story. That she's independent. That she's not constrained by protocol. That she's choosing her own path. The psychological contrast is stark. Catherine derives power from restraint. From doing less, saying less, revealing less. Her strategy is to be unassailable by being unreachable. To float above the fray. To let others interpret her silence however they want because she doesn't need to correct them. She knows the institution will outlast any individual narrative. Meghan derives power from exposure. From telling her story before someone else does. From refusing to let silence be mistaken for consent. Her strategy is to control the narrative by flooding the zone. To stay visible. To remind people she exists and that she has something to say. Because if she stops talking, the tabloids fill the void. And they won't be kind. Neither strategy is inherently better. They're just responses to different circumstances. Catherine can afford silence because the institution protects her. Meghan can't afford silence because she has no institution. She only has herself. So when people ask if Meghan is trying to outshine Catherine, the answer is, it depends on what you mean by outshine. If you mean steal attention, then yes, probably. That's the game Meghan is playing. Attention is currency, and she needs it. But if you mean diminish Catherine's standing, then no. Because Catherine's standing isn't based on headlines. It's based on proximity to power. And that doesn't change no matter how many podcasts Meghan launches. The real question isn't whether Meghan is trying to outshine Catherine. It's whether outshining even matters in a system where one woman's power is institutional and the other's is transactional. Catherine will be queen consort whether Meghan trends on Twitter or not. And Meghan will keep building her brand whether Catherine acknowledges her existence or not.